Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion. And the quarterfinal stage of this World Cup is starting soon, and this is my video previewing how I think each of those four games will go. And for each side that's made it this far, I will be referring to the round of 16 performances. So yeah, now on to the predictions. Now in the first game out of four, Croatia versus Brazil. Croatia have got to the quarterfinals after a hard-fought win against Japan. And for the first half of that game, I thought Japan had the more clear-cut chances, and they were deservedly ahead at half-time. And the equaliser came from Ivan Perisic in the 55th minute of the game. A great goal for especially two reasons. One, I thought because of how far away he was from the goal. And two, it wasn't easy to kind of make that connection with the opportunity that he got. And also combining that with how far away he was from the goal as well. So I thought it's a great goal. And from that point onwards, Croatia would started to dominate in terms of possession. And especially in the extra time phase, it was them kind of more outwardly looking for that winning goal, and Japan looking to go on the counter-attack whenever, well, if and when they did get the opportunity. And even though some experienced players like Ivan Perisic and Luka Modric were off the field for Croatia when it was time to take the penalties, I thought considering the inexperience of their opposition, despite whatever they've done, in a penalty shootout stage, in a World Cup knockout game, you did think that this Japanese side were the inexperience which you thought would hurt them, and that's why I expected some poor penalties, and I kind of got what I expected. And because of that, Croatia could still afford to have a few key players off the field, and in the end, the win for them. And I do think this game against Brazil will be a closer game than it looks. I do think this Croatian side should not be underestimated by any means. It will not be anywhere near as easy for Brazil to get the win like they did against South Korea. And for Brazil, I think the one thing that they'd feel most happy about is that in 3 out of the 4 games they've played, they have kind of faced resistance defensively from the opposition. It's been hard to... they've had to wait a while in the first 2 games out of 3 to score the goals that they did. And in the third game, they probably should have won that game by 2 or 3 goals. But it's just one of those days where, you have a lot of opportunities, you don't take them. And when the opposition has a few, they take one and they win. So I think something that they'll feel really happy with is that they've kind of had to handle resistance in the first 3 games, and yet they really should have won each game by at least 2 goals. Against Serbia, after that 1 goal was scored, the floodgates kind of opened. They had a lot of opportunities, and they should have won the game by more than 2 goals than what they did at the end. And against Switzerland, even before that late Casemiro goal, they did have a few opportunities to score, and that's why even that game could have been won by about 2 or 3 goals, and yet Switzerland actually, they did their best to provide resistance. And with how well Cameroon defended, Brazil had so many opportunities, especially in the second half, and as I said, should have won the game comfortably. So they'll feel really happy about that, and that's why I think that in terms of attacking quality, especially with kind of at this point in their careers, I do think that this Brazil side has an advantage in that area. It won't be an easy game by any means, and I am going for a 2-1 Brazil win. Now in the second game out of 4, the Netherlands versus Argentina. The last time these two sides met in a World Cup game, it was the semi-finals of the 2014 World Cup, where Argentina won on penalties. And because of the way this Dutch side looked to play, I do think it'll be another slow-paced game. They couldn't quite slow the pace of the game down against the USA, but they didn't really have to after kind of withstanding that first 12 minutes of pressure from the USA. After that goal from Memphis Depay, things became a lot easier. And credit to the USA, I thought that, they didn't get bogged down even after that second goal conceded towards the end of or basically at the end of the first half. But yeah, it was a step too far, and the Dutch side got the job done easily on the day, and especially after that first 12 minutes. And I think that, they can't be dismissed in this game. They're a very well-drilled side, a very good manager, and it's a case where I do think the one advantage that Argentina have got is that if it is a slow-paced game, and I do think this game will go down to at least extra time, if you're looking for a goal out of the blue, you've got players like Lionel Messi and Julian Alvarez who seem to be those players for Argentina at this point in time, and maybe someone like an Enzo Fernandez can do something. I don't think you could kind of compare the options that this Dutch side has to them in terms of getting a goal out of the blue. Yes, the likes of Cody Gakpo have been in very good form, and Memphis Depay is getting back to full fitness, had a great game against the Netherlands. Denzel Dumfries, I think, 2 goals and an assist. He was great in that game. And Frankie de Jong, I think, as I said before, they would like him to kind of chip in with a few goals as well, considering there aren't really that many outright kind of goal-scoring outlets in this side. And yeah, I do think that they will be a tough opponent to come up against, and this game will go to extra time. And on Argentina's game against Australia, it was a pretty... Overall, they did deserve to win the game, of course. And well, after that first goal was scored, they went through a long period of play where they found things a lot easier. And after that fortuitous first goal for Australia, then they kind of got more into the game, and in the end, almost took the game to extra time. But Argentina did deserve to win that game. And after they lost to Saudi Arabia, they have improved in every game, and that's why I do think that this game will go down to extra time. Like I said, I think it will be a slow-paced game, and if you want someone to win the game for you out of the blue, I think that Julian Alvarez will be the guy to get that second goal for Argentina and get them to the semi-finals, and I think Argentina will win 2-1. And now on the third game out of 4, Morocco versus Portugal. I think huge credit to Morocco to kind of getting this far. They've defensively probably been the best side in this competition. In fact, I thought, like I said before, they were the better side in their goalless draw against Croatia in the first game of their group stage. So really, if you combine that, they've shown very good showings against the likes of Croatia, Belgium and Spain, and the latter two that they beat. And I thought that on this game, both sides, Spain and Morocco, did well in their kind of disciplines they were trying to execute. For Spain, they had a lot more of the ball and kind of outright looking to get that goal, and Morocco looking to go on the counter-attack. But even then, most of the time, things did fizzle out, and they relied on their defensive solidity to get them through to the penalty stage. And when it did go to penalties, unlike what I think would be the case if this Portugal game goes to penalties, I did think Morocco were favourites when it did go to penalties. And yeah, we did see that they won on penalties quite convincingly. Spain will feel slightly unlucky. They didn't really do anything wrong this game. You saw that opportunity at the end for Pablo Sarabia, which went off the post, and even his penalty hit the post as well. But I think it was a side where, look, both sides didn't play badly by any means, both kind of going for the opposite discipline. Spain looking to kind of have more possession of the ball, take the game to the opposition, and Morocco looking to be very solid defensively, which they have been so far this tournament. So Morocco in the quarterfinals, the first time they've ever done so at the World Cup stage, and against the Portugal side who... Yes, they were playing against a Switzerland side who, I thought they didn't do justice to the reputation they have earned in the last while. And even then, it was some statement win, a win by 6-1. And the whole kind of scrutiny on Ronaldo not starting the game. And what a statement from 21-year-old Gonzalo Ramos, a hat-trick and an assist on your first international start, and that too in a World Cup, in a knockout game, playing against a side where usually, and especially in the last world, they've not been an easy side to play against. And yeah, I mean, look, he couldn't have thought of the day to go any better than it did go. And from the first goal itself, the way he scored that goal, he just, he seemed very free. And I just think with the scrutiny that has been surrounding Ronaldo in the recent while, I think that surely Gonzalo Ramos has to start. And if Portugal show that attacking fluidity like they did against Switzerland, yes, arguably more of a challenge to break down this Moroccan defense. But yeah, it will be a good game to watch. But I do think Portugal will keep on kind of knocking on the door and win this game 2-0. And now on the game of the quarterfinals stage, England versus France. England, apart from that 0-0 draw against the USA, they've been more than very good in every game they've played, brushing Senegal aside with ease, like I expected them to do. And for France, yes, they lost that third game of their group stage to Tunisia while they were fielding their second string 11. But apart from that, I think they have still been good and should certainly be considered a threat. And the thing about them is that even in their first two games where they experienced kind of phases of adversity with when they conceded first against Australia and conceded the equaliser against Denmark, and even in the Poland game, you could say at first Poland were looking to take the game to France, and until that first goal was scored by Olivier Giroud, this was looking to be kind of a more even game, and I actually thought Poland were the better side, were kind of marginally the better side offensively in the first part until the goal was scored. But in the end, like good teams do, like defending champions do, they responded in all three of those situations and almost did draw the game. They lost as well to Tunisia. So I think that, this side should not be discounted by any means. They're the world champions for a reason. And even without some of their key players, they still look very good. And an encounter like this, in my view, I would have liked to see this in at least the semi-final stage. I mean, in my view, there are three main contenders for this World Cup: Brazil, France, and England. And I think with the level of teams that these two teams are, a semi-final encounter would have been a befitting one. I think the side that would have gone home out of these two should hold their head up kind of very highly, I think, and it would have been more obvious had they got to the semi-finals. If you go out in the quarter-finals, there is kind of a case where it could have done more, but at the same time, if France lose or England lose, they could have the excuse to say we were playing the level of team that we were at a relatively earlier stage. So it is what it is. And on how this game will go, I actually think England are the favourites. I think they have got that belief, and also I'm not surprised that things have turned around going into this World Cup. Yes, the form in the Nations League and all wasn't great, but I did think that wasn't going to be kind of a telling factor when it came to this World Cup. With a squad that is this good, I think that, I thought they were going to be contenders regardless, and I did expect them to play quite well as they have done. And I actually think that, look, of course, all the talk from France is about Kylian Mbappe, and of course it should be. He scored 5 goals in this World Cup so far, and I think he scored 9 goals overall at 23, and he may even win it again. But I think that apart from him, you take him out of this French side, and yes, it is still a good side, but I do think what the advantage that England have is they probably have more players who outright stand up at this point in time, especially with what we see in this tournament, than France do if you take out their main man. And yeah, I actually think overall England do seem the stronger side at this point in time. In fact, I'm actually going for a 3-2 win for England and Bukayo Saka scoring the winning goal. And if England do beat France, I think that it will give them a huge confidence boost, that more than they already do have going into the semi-finals and the final stage. If they win this game, I do think they have to play either Portugal or Morocco in the semi-finals, and I think they'll find that a much easier challenge than playing against France. And then the final will await. I mean, I know I'm looking quite, relatively decently far ahead. I mean, we are still at the quarterfinal stage, but I think that, look, if either of these sides, win this game, they can look to go on to win the overall competition. And yeah, let's see how this goes. But I do think England will win it 3-2. And yeah, that's on my 4 predictions. And yeah, let's see how the games go. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Please share it with your friends. Remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?